type in the chat box if you have any particular questions, or save your questions for the end. And Ian, feel free to direct me to move forward with some slides if I'm not going fast enough for you.
Sure, that's great. Excellent. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for attending the session. Throughout this presentation, I will try and differentiate between the unique points for Cheltenham and London. They do offer a very different experience within the UK. Cheltenham is historically a very traditional town. Its location is also very traditional as well, very central to a lot of the big landmarks. And then London is very multicultural. So depending on the experience that your student is looking for, can kind of dictate some way to which program they are more interested in. So if we move on to firstly to speak about Cheltenham. So Cheltenham is really a town within a park, I always say. It's a bit of a strange phrase, but this picture kind of shows that. So the town that you see to the right of the picture is kind of part of Cheltenham, and we are surrounded by beautiful Cotswolds. Cheltenham is known as the gateway to the Cotswolds. So kind of if you are looking for that traditional village, your cream teas, your traditional Hogwarts style steam trains, historical architectural buildings as well, then this area is where you want to focus your study on. So if you move on to the next slide. So Cheltenham, you can see, is a fairly central location. We're in the West Midlands. It's about 2 hours from London, or 2.5 hours from London. The transport links to London are fantastic. So we have a National Express coach service which runs directly to London Victoria, which is very, very central. It's a 10-15 minute walk from Buckingham Palace, and then from there you can walk on to Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, so it will drop you right in the best location. Also, we're only 15 minutes away from Bristol. This is another university town, very modern, very young city, sorry, not a town, city. And it also has historical value. So, for example, there is a famous old cathedral, which is just about standing still. And also famous artists such as Banksy, if you've heard of him. His artwork is around the city, so you can actually do a free walking tour of the city, learn more about it, and then follow Banksy's artwork, which is sort of in the streets and on buildings. Cardiff, capital of Wales, is also only 1 hour away. All of these can be accessed by train as well, and in particular Bristol, Cardiff, also Bath, with its historical Roman baths and fantastic architecture as well, is all within an hour by train, and also very cheap transportation as well. If we have a student studying with us, they can actually apply for a student rail pass, which will allow them to have some discount off the rail fares as well. So that's an option they have. Cheltenham itself is very close to the traditional villages, and something I'll talk about a bit later, but the BCA excursions will target these types of villages and cities. So they are able to really get a sense of British history. We'll visit museums and set up private tours to learn more about this. So in choosing Cheltenham, you can already see that there's an aspect to it that is very traditional and aimed at learning about how Britain has evolved, and also how our relationship is evolving as well with our neighbouring countries, so Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland as well. Cheltenham is extremely safe, and so much so that it's been awarded the purple flag status. This is something that is awarded to universities in the UK, or university towns and cities in the UK, which are particularly safe at night. This is further enhanced, and also it's kind of a reflection of the good work the university's done. We have guardians that are students at the university that will be out at night, making sure that students can get home, that they have access to taxi ranks, that they know where to go. So it really is kind of a community feel, and everyone looks after everyone. So this has also been awarded to Gloucester, which is the neighbouring city, only 10-15 minutes away from Cheltenham, and the university is called the University of Gloucestershire because it is spread over Cheltenham and Gloucester. So something I'll talk about next as well. So if we move on. Cheltenham is extremely famous for being for having world famous festivals. So throughout the year we have a jazz festival where we get top jazz artists, soul singers that actually come to the festival, which is within walking distance of where students will be living. Again, there's discounted tickets for students of the University of Gloucestershire, so our students are included in that. Famous Literature Festival, Science Festival, and we also have one of the biggest horse racing meetings of the year in the Gold Cup. This brings over 100 to 200,000 extra people to Cheltenham. The population of Cheltenham itself is around 200,000 people. So you can imagine the town kind of doubles. It's the size of almost another town visits Cheltenham in that week. So it's a really special occasion. The atmosphere is fantastic, and there's opportunities to get involved in the festival as well. If we move on to the next slide. So with Cheltenham, you really do get the best of both worlds. So you have the traditional side of Britain, and you have these traditional Cotswold villages, but you also have a very modern town as well. It's constantly being invested in. We've recently had this brand new shopping quarter, so the brewery quarter that you can see. Again, this will be 15-20 minutes walk from where the students are staying. So they have great access to the town centre. We also have in Gloucester, we have the Gloucester Cathedral, and this was used in the filming of Harry Potter and the Corridors of Hogwarts. So again, as part of a BCA excursion, and that we can go for an afternoon on the university bus, and we can have a private tour of the cathedral as well. So not only do they learn about, or they get to visit something that they may be interested in, so the halls of Hogwarts, and tread the same halls as Harry Potter and the famous characters, but also they get to learn a bit about Great Britain and British history, as there is a former king buried there as well. We move on to the next slide. So the University of Gloucestershire is split over 3 main campuses. So the oldest campus we have is FCH campus, or Francis Close Hall campus. Now this has over 170 years of history providing education. So it was a teacher training school, and also became very prominent during just after the Second World War, as the mainly our teachers had gone off and fought in the war. There needed to be a sudden uptake in teacher training, and the college became very the centre of this training as well. Very much that Hogwarts feel as well, and very traditional British campus. Even though it's has over 170 years of history, we are still classed as a fairly modern university. So you can imagine the history of universities in the UK. On this campus, we have our education department. So this is rated outstanding for its teaching excellence, and really one of our main subjects that we have. Also on this campus, you can study social sciences, environmental studies as well, architecture and psychology. As the theme with all of the campuses, they are very self-contained. So we have a canteen on campus with local produce that is grown in the university gardens, and there's a library on campus as well. On all of the campuses, you'll find there's a computer suite with the state-of-the-art technology in there, and also the library itself is fairly extensive and has some great history to it as well. This campus is immediate to the town centre as well. So again, where our students are studying, living, it will only be a 20-minute walk to this campus. The next campus we have in Cheltenham is Park Campus. Now, this has a slightly different feel to it, but has its own positive notes as well. So it's set in old botanical gardens. This has a great history to it as well, because the lake that you can see in the picture was actually originally shaped into the shape of Africa. And after it was botanical gardens, they decided we will turn it into a zoo. And they tried to bring animals and set it up as a zoo, but it didn't quite take off. And then that's where the university came in, and it eventually turned into one of our campuses. Again, this is only 20-minute walk from the town centre, and we've recently just had a new £2 million media suite with industry standard technology in it. This campus is very media focused, as you can imagine, so music, computing, film production, also illustration, animation are taught here. We also have an on-site canteen and state-of-the-art library and computer suite as well. So again, depending on what campus the student is studying at, you will have all the facilities you need there. Our next campus is Oxstalls campus, and this is currently being invested in quite heavily. So if we play the video that we have here, and you might need to turn the volume down slightly, hopefully it will play. Might be a little slow, but we'll get there in the end. So this is the new business centre that is currently being built on Oxstalls campus in Gloucester. So this will have what we call the growth hub situated on the premises as well. So the growth hub has created over 100 links to businesses in the Gloucestershire area. So the style and theme of the University of Gloucestershire's courses and the way they set up the modules, they are really looking for a very organic feel to the learning, or very organic learning process. So there are opportunities to do placements during these modules, and these are available to our study abroad students. At the moment, only those that are studying for a year, but hopefully this will progress and change in the future. You can see they have purpose-built trading rooms. We have a purpose-built court for the law students as well, and a brand new computer suite as well. So the facilities are really going to be fantastic here. There'll also be a performing arts centre and the sports science laboratories as well. There's also going to be new housing here as well, although at the moment the BCA students aren't housed here. But it is going to be a fantastic facility for us to use. We're also expanding our sports facilities as well. So as you can see here, there's quite a bit of land at the back of the business centre, and these video might have paused, but I'll continue. So there's going to be purpose-built sports pitches. There's also going to be what we call 3G or all-weather pitches. And these, although you might not have a student that is studying sports science, these are still going to be used hopefully by BCA students, because we have, as I'll talk about later, our social programs and our societies and clubs. Our sports teams will be using these. So that's going to really benefit BCA students in the long run as well. There's also going to be a state-of-the-art tennis centre, which will be used by our students and also the local community as well. So there's great opportunities for interaction there. And finally, there's also going to be a sports hall, which will be accessible for sports teams with disabilities, as well as those without. So it's really going to be a fantastic facility. This should be in place for the 2018 academic year. Something we're really excited about. And again, our students will be based in Cheltenham, but the 3 campuses are linked by a university bus. This is heavily discounted because they're students, and the students will have their student card to get the discount as when they get on the bus. The bus picks students up directly from their student village where they're living, their residence. So no matter what subject they're learning or which campus they need to go to, it's all accessible within 15 minutes. So that's something that we're really proud on. We have a policy, talking to some students from Texas State. I know it's very different to the US. We have a policy that students aren't allowed to bring cars to university, or at least not first year students. So that's why we really invest in transportation that's specifically for our students. So it's safe, they can get back at night if it's dark from the town centre, but also they can access all of the campuses they need to. So if we move on to the next slide, I will talk a little bit about the accommodation. So again, this is further investment that we have, and this will be ready for our September students this year. We have a brand new £38 million student village for this year. It has some fantastic facilities on site. So we're going to have ensuite rooms, private ensuite rooms for each student, and then they will share a kitchen and a living area as well. Now, this is great for interaction with UK students and other international students as well, which will be housed within their residence as well. So we do try to mix to make sure that there's opportunities for that interaction as well. Also, it's a closed campus, so we'll have 24/7 security dedicated to the student village, and there'll be around 850 students finally housed here. So there's going to be a great sense of community here. There'll be a gym on site, which is free to access for students. There's sports and games facilities, including an all-weather 3G pitch, which you can play tennis, five-a-side soccer, and also basketball on as well. There's canteens, or we call it a refectory, so you'll have access to hot food. There'll be a Starbucks. There'll also be dedicated private study areas as well. So if students don't feel like studying in their room and they need to get out, then they have access to the private study areas, which will have some computers in as well. We also have a faith space, which will be on the student village. So again, this is a multi-faith space. So no matter what religion a student is, they will have access to a chaplain and services. And as I mentioned, 24/7 on-site security, so it is extremely safe for our students. So why choose the University of Gloucestershire? So again, we have an award for our teaching excellence. It really is a high standard, and although we do have this award, we are not just sort of resting on our laurels, as we say. We are looking to meet the standard for teaching excellence and go beyond. We also, as I briefly mentioned before, we have placement modules available, including available to our BCA students. These would only be available at the moment to year-long students, but these are in a range of subjects such as business, accounting, law. So alongside your studies, you will be required to either take a 30-hour placement or a 45-hour placement. And these are generally opportunities that are set up by the subject leader. So the opportunities are found already for the student, and then they can talk with the placement officer, which is at the university, to find the right area to opportunity for them to get some experience at. This is fantastic because this really further enhances the study abroad experience that the students have. So it's not just looking at the short term and getting worldly experience, but also how can this benefit the students for years to come when they're looking at employment. So if they can put down that they've, for example, worked in a law firm or an accounting firm alongside their studies in the UK, then it's really going to catch the eye of employers. We are a top 10 for new universities. So as I mentioned, even though we've got all of that history, we're still considered quite a new university, and we're recognised as being one of the top new universities. And also we're #1 university for value added as well. So this means that although compared to a lot of other UK universities, our fees are generally fairly low. The facilities, the campuses, and the teaching that we provide really is a fantastic standard. We also have been recognised for being in the top 10 for best student support as well. So these are things that we're really proud of, but as I said, we are always looking to continue to improve as well. Alongside this, we also have volunteering opportunities that I've recently opened up for our students. So through the student union, we have volunteering opportunities. So if we have a student, for example, this is open to everyone, so it's not subject specific, but for example, if we had a student that was looking to study education, they could also get some hands-on experience with helping adults with special educational needs. And again, this is set up and supervised through our student union and our volunteering opportunities department as well. So as I said, this is open to all students that want to get that experience. And this is also an opportunity to learn further about society, the culture, and also make a contrast to how things are in America, which is the experiences that we're trying to create. Okay, now the University of Roehampton, I was there only this morning, so this really is fresh in my mind. This is a fairly different experience to Cheltenham. So we've just looked at a very traditional setting, lots of opportunities to learn specifically about UK and Britain and its history, and immerse yourself in quite a traditional British culture as well. As you can imagine, being in London, this really does give you access to a very multicultural society. London itself, over 300 languages are spoken. So again, Roehampton has opportunities for language courses, those interested. However, the good thing about Roehampton is that you are not in the centre of London. So obviously recent events may concern students who are looking to study in London, but really this is an extremely fantastic location and a safe location as well. So Roehampton is about 20 to 30 minutes away from what we would say the centre of London. So for example, where Big Ben, Westminster, Houses of Parliament are, and it's in the village of Roehampton, which is very self-contained, so you have access to shops and local restaurants, etc. If you go on to the next slide. So the campus really does have a community feel. So the University of Roehampton is set across, has 5 colleges, and it's all on a 60-acre campus. So it's all enclosed. And again, we call this a closed campus because, for example, when it gets to 6 p.m., the campus is only accessible via the main entrance, and there's security 24/7 on campus. The University of Roehampton has some fantastic inclusive initiatives as well, which I'll speak about a bit later. You can see in the picture, for example, so they have a program called Roehampton, where they grow their own produce on site, and then they also have the Hive Cafe, where they sell that produce, and the cafe is actually run by students, and this is something that BCA students, of course, can get involved in. Alongside myself, there's 24/7 Study Abroad Office Emergency Contact, and there's a large team there that can support our BCA students in the transition from their sort of home setting in America to the multicultural society that we have in London. But of course, they've also got the 24/7 BCA Emergency Contact, which is me. So if we move on. So at Roehampton, it's a very international feel. So there's over 140 different nationalities studying at Roehampton. And Cheltenham is only slightly bigger. So we have about 10,000 strong student body. Roehampton is around 8,000 to 9,000. And there are a range of courses, of language courses available, as I've mentioned. They also have a very strong well-being department, and they, alongside the local produce that they grow, they have their own chickens and also rabbits, and this is something again that students can get involved in by volunteering to look after the animals. Also quite a quirky idea, but also a very good idea. Students can also rent time with animals. So for example, the rabbits, this has been proven to act as a de-stressor for students, and it's quite a unique way of doing it. So that's also something that's available. I think Rachel has also briefly mentioned, but there's also a London Studies module. So students can use London as their classroom and sort of learn from a critical and academic perspective as well. So that's really unique to Roehampton, and something that allows the students to really understand the environment that they're living in better. So it's especially for BCA students, this is valuable. We're only 6 miles from London's West End, and this in London, this is not a far distance at all. So very well connected through buses and trains. When students arrive, they'll get an Oyster card, which is a card with you put some money on, and you can use this for transportation. So there's no need to worry about learning about British money straight away and using it on public transport and worrying that you're not going to be able to get around. It's actually cashless, and for example, you can use the card on the buses just by tapping the pad, or the London Underground just by tapping the pad as well. So it's very easy to navigate around. But this is also part of the orientation that both myself and Roehampton Study Abroad office staff provide as well. There's one program that I actually found out about today before we move on to the colleges, and this is called a Global Award. So this is something that Roehampton have just put together, and it's specifically for study abroad students. So there are 4 or 5 areas that are covered by the Global Award, such as geography, social, and students are asked to write a piece about each area and submit this. And once they do, they can receive a Global Award, which is stamped by the university. So again, this is something that they can use to not only enhance their CV, but also their understanding of the dynamics of London, how it contrasts to the rest of the UK, how it functions. So, for example, Parliament and the role that plays in government, and also the social and political climate as well, which is of course the same as America, ever changing, which will be continuously developing, and they'll get to understand and learn about this as well. As I said, there's 4 colleges, but just 1 campus, which is really creates a sense of community. So depending on what subject the students are studying, they will be put into houses, just like in Harry Potter. And just like in Harry Potter, there is a house cup. So students will quickly find a sense of identity at the university, which is really important for study abroad students. And this helps to create a real community feel, especially if you put this together with the other well-being projects that are on offer at the university. It's such an important aspect, especially for study abroad students as well. Okay, just like the University of Gloucestershire, Roehampton are also an evolving university as well. They are in the process of completing a £2 billion investment project. As you can see in the picture, this is the brand new state-of-the-art library and also conference centre that they've recently built. This will be finished for September, and as I saw today, I'm hopeful that they are on time. They're nearly there. The library will have over 8 kilometres of book shelving and over 1,200 new dedicated study spaces. So even though you have that number of students living on campus and studying, alongside the learning centres that are already there on campus, there's going to be an extra 1,200 spaces, quiet study spaces that the students can go to as well, which is going to really help. Lots of community events are going to be held here as well. So again, these will be opportunities that students will be able to get involved in. This will help to, again, further try and integrate them into the society for the time they're here, which is really a positive thing for study abroad students. And it has one of the highest levels of sustainability as well. So it's a really progressive campus and university. Okay, so why choose Roehampton? So again, this has lots of history in education, and the education department is extremely highly thought after in the UK, just as University of Gloucestershire is. But what is really unique and thought after in Roehampton is for anthropology. So it's ranked 19th in the UK for this, and it's also ranked 36th in the UK for drama, dance and cinematics, and their drama studios and building are state of the art, as you can see in the picture. Also, this was rated the best modern university in London. And again, you can see the history of universities in the UK when you think that, again, Roehampton has a very long history, again, similar to the University of Gloucestershire, around 100 plus years. So even though it's got that history, it is classed as quite a modern university. Very comprehensive social program. So the BCA students, along with the BCA excursions that we will plan, they will also have a social program provided by Roehampton. So there will be a series of about 6 or 7 trips going to places in London, as well as further afield, such as Oxford. And this is included at the moment in the package, and something that will help them connect with students and other study abroad students as well, share their experiences, which is really important. Okay.
All right, so this is me. Thank you, Ian. That's super comprehensive. Hopefully no one dies in the house cup like at Harry Potter. right?
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
so. But I did hear that there is a Quidditch team, and I'm not quite sure how that works.
Interesting. So
So,
I will say, before coming to BCA, I worked at Franklin and Marshall College, and there's actually a Quidditch team on that campus as well. So it was actually really entertaining when people would be, someone has to play the snitch, and so runs around and hides on campus, and it's really like live action. It's an entertaining thing for sure, but yes, hopefully less dangerous. As we chat briefly about health and safety, I really appreciate, Ian, your touching on this throughout the presentation about both Cheltenham and London. Obviously, recent events in the UK have received a lot of attention here in the US, and Ian's been a great resource for us in communicating with students who are headed to the UK this fall, as well as parents and guardians, to help students really understand what life feels like there in the UK post Manchester, for example. So Ian, would you mind sharing briefly sort of some of the information that you've shared with students and their families about, where to access information, resources, how to sort of think about how British citizens and British cultural response to the incidents might be a little bit different than they're anticipating?
absolutely, yeah, and I think it's an important point to make because I know from our side we've seen some of the reaction in the US and been quite surprised about that. But my role and my main concern and priority is the safety of the students. So constantly in communication with the BCA students, and also making sure that they're keeping up with current events. So I give them links such as to the BBC News website. Now, obviously, there's lots of talk about media coverage and media bias, but the role of BBC is supposed to be impartial, and this is the best resource for information about current events. So I signpost them to that and make sure that they're up to date with current events as well. So they're not hearing it maybe secondhand through from family members back home that maybe have seen something either on social media or another outlet and are concerned, rightly concerned. But the reaction from British people is really a sense of understanding why these have occurred and maybe the perceived purpose of what it is trying to cause, and that is kind of, to be blunt, segregation. They're trying to create segregation between cultures. It's actually had the opposite effect in the UK. So we understand why it's happening, and therefore we have done the opposite. So it's brought cultures together that maybe before wouldn't be together or didn't share time or just didn't know each other, and it's a really positive outlook. So nobody is changing their plans, for example. We're not going a different way to work. We are really going about our business and being very positive, strong, and inclusive of all cultures as well. And that is the feeling that students get when they arrive here. So, for example, I have a first-hand example at the moment. So obviously, with the group that I have here at the moment, they clearly would have some concerns about traveling to the UK. And after three or 4 days, they actively comment on how safe they feel whilst they're here, which is, first of all, really positive for me, and really reflects maybe a change in attitude that they had from their preconceived ideas of what it might be like. So for me, it's really important that students, particularly BCA students, source their information from the correct places. try to avoid what things that might be posted on social media that may be fake news, and just making them aware that that might be the case, and just reassuring them that I'm here. If it's Roehampton, they also have the Study Abroad office. If they have any concerns, then be open, honest, and talk as well. So for me, it's really positive atmosphere in the UK at the moment, despite what has happened and what have been tragic events.
Thanks, Ian. That's really helpful to hear and encouraging to hear. You know, sort of building off of that more broadly, obviously, again, most of you have worked with BCA for many years now. We take the physical, emotional, and psychological health and safety of our students very seriously. So Ian's talked about his role as a resident director, being on-site support for students. We also have a dedicated team of central office staff and are available 24/7 for student emergencies. We continue to provide comprehensive international health and emergency insurance for all BCA participants through CISI, although it's always interesting to interact with students in the pre-departure orientation around the UK health system and how they'll interact there as maybe a first introduction to thinking about some cultural differences between the US and the UK. So this is an area that we do pride ourselves on, and again, as Ian has mentioned throughout, really prioritize student health and safety and success. So hopefully you feel that in these two locations as you do on all of our programs. Before I move forward with a bit more general information about BCA as a whole, I wanted to see if anyone had any questions they wanted to share with the group about Cheltenham or London. I can actually stop recording at this point so that we can answer your individual questions. Feel free to unmute yourself and shout things